Hi all, Andy here and welcome back to the channel for the second of the videos on the new TT project car. Now the car is very dirty, but I think underneath the grime the paintwork is in great condition, but only time will tell once we get a bit of snow foam and a wash down and see what's underneath. And we're also going to take our first close-up look at the engine bay and some of the aftermarket components that are fitted to this engine, what they do on the car and how they improve performance. We're also going to look at the first steps we're going to undertake to remove this engine. I want to document every nut, bolt and fixing that I remove from this engine, the order in which I do it, so that you at home can understand how you too can remove an engine in your garage. A couple of marks are jumping out at me though. The driver's door looks like it's had some paint in the past and has got some crazing on the door. And the back bumper's got a couple of small marks on it, which you would expect for a 20-year-old plus car. One good thing I've noticed is the front grills on the front bumper. They're in really good condition and better than the grills on my 225 Roadster. So I'm going to swap those over today as well, as that will be a nice quick win and there'll be no detraction from the project car. Let's take a walk around the car and see what we think. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do for this car just yet, if I'm going to break it or restore it, but we might as well give it a clean up and see what we're dealing with. I'm also going to give those leather seats a treatment to revive them a bit and give the interior a good valet, because I think that interior will come up quite well. So let's get it snow foamed up and get it washed off. I'm using Turtle Wax Hybrid Snow Foam applied in a 4:1 mix ratio via an applicator bottle on my power washer. I will leave the foam to work its magic for a few minutes before setting about it with a soft cloth to loosen more of the dirt. I'm not going to go too crazy on this, as the car is not going to be going anywhere for the foreseeable future and I just want to get a good look at the paint. A hose down with a jet wash should be all this needs to show up any marks. It's already looking much better and you simply cannot beat a black car with clean, wet look paintwork. Just walking around the car is making me lean more towards keeping this whole and getting it back on the road. Surely it's too good to break. Well, let's get it dry and back in the garage and we can take a close look at some of those marks that may still remain. Starting with the bonnet, there seems to be a paint line that is visible in some light that runs down the middle, front to back and at a slight angle. Perhaps this has been blown in as part of a repair. There are also a couple of stone chips on the bonnet, but all in all it's in good condition. There is this paint run from the spray shop, so this bumper has had some paint at some point. Obviously we know about the headlight, so that will have to go, and there is some crazing on one of the roof rails, but both of the sills and the front wheel arches are in great condition with no dents or dings, as are the doors, although the driver's door has some paint at some point. What's best of all about the bodywork is there is zero rust to be found throughout. With the car clean and inspected, let's take another look under that bonnet and talk about the engine removal process I have planned. All parts will be catalogued and stored on a spreadsheet and also stored in a cardboard box. So when it comes to the reassembly process, which I hope I will be undertaking at some point, I can get all these bits back on the car in the right order. I also want to thank all of these wonderful people here who are members or patrons of the Andy Charger channel. Your support of the channel really does make a difference. If you too would like to support and become a member of the Andy Charger channel, then please do click on the membership link below this video. Remember, membership is not compulsory and you can do your bit to help this video by liking, subscribing to the channel and sharing this video. Again, thank you so much for supporting my channel. So we're going to take a close look at the engine bay and some of these aftermarket components. Let's look at what this engine does and how it functions. Well, we know it's a 1.8 turbo engine and the job of the turbo is to compress and force the air into the engine. The first step of the journey for the air that comes into the engine is through the airbox, which is normally located here on a normal car. But of course, we've got an aftermarket induction kit on this car. The idea of the induction kit is it allows the air to travel into the turbo intake pipe in a less restricted fashion. There's no plastic box, as there is with the airbox on a standard car, restricting airflow into that. It just has a foam filter around the outside to keep the nasties out. For the engine to work at its most efficient, it needs to suck cold air in for combustion. Now, this particular induction kit is not really shielding the induction kit from the engine bay too much. Now, there is a shield in place that goes around it, a plastic shield, but how much that stops the warm engine bay air getting into the induction kit, I don't know. It would be better to supply the induction kit with a direct feed from the outside air to get as cold air to it as possible. So maybe that's something we can look to do in the future. Now that air makes its journey from the induction kit down the tip or the turbo intake pipe. Now on your standard car, that'll be a black ribbed pipe that goes like in an S shape or a snake from the top of the engine bay to the bottom to the turbo. It's obviously the same shape on this car, but it is made out of blue silicone and it is made by Forge, and it's got a much bigger diameter. And the reason for that is it can get more air to the turbo quicker because of the bigger diameter. What we find on these older cars is that the turbo intake pipe, it perishes over time, and when you need to suck that air in with the turbo, the pipe ends up collapsing down on itself. Obviously, a collapsed pipe is going to stop as much air getting to the turbo, which will result in a loss of boost or the car feeling like it's choking. From the turbo, that air makes its way down the charge pipe. Now, the charge pipe is supplying air from the turbo, where it exits just here at the top, into this rubber pipe just here, which takes it to the intercoolers. And the idea for the intercooler is it takes the warm air that's coming out of the turbo, sends it through a radiator by supplying it down this pipe, and the radiators are located on a 225 in each corner of the front of the engine. So there is one below each headlight recessed into the wing. As you're driving down the road and accelerating, that lovely cool air is going over the intercooler, which in turn is cooling the air inside the intercooler, and that then comes back up into the engine through this pipe just here into the inlet manifold. Now the inlet manifold is what supplies the nice cold air into the combustion chamber, which hopefully, if the air is nice and cold, is going to give you an even better combustion spark. Better combustion spark, you're going to get more power and obviously better performance. The purpose of this entire system is to get as cold air and as much air as possible into your inlet manifold. You'll also notice on this car, most of the PCV or the positive crankcase ventilation system is also missing. And that's because it's been fitted with a catch can. Now the catch can is there to do what it says. It's to catch something, and what it's catching is oil vapour that would normally be passing around your PCV system. Now that vapour is being passed around in the expelled air that's coming out of the engine. Now the oil vapour that's travelling around the rubber piping of the PCV system causes it to fail over time. The pipes become brittle and soft, and they collapse also. And they also create vac leaks to the system. Now what your catch can is doing is venting some of the oil back into the crankcase for burning off in the engine, but it's catching most of the oil vapour in the catch can. However, there is some oil vapour that seems to have made its way into the charge pipe, I've noticed. And that is seen as quite normal because you are going to get some grease out of the bearings of the turbo pipe, but there's also some venting into the charge pipe from the tip, which could also be ingressing some oil. So while this engine bay is missing some of the plastic components that you would normally find on a standard engine, it is ripe and ready for me to start dismantling it. Now I've talked about what the components do, I'm going to start documenting everything, and I'm going to start by removing this charge pipe as the first part today. And that's literally held in place right now by these two Jubilee clips. Normally this charge pipe is secured with a Jubilee clip here, which takes the air to the intercoolers, and at the back where the air has come out of the turbo pipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a rag into this pipe to the turbo so nothing goes down the hole and enters the turbo. Just ensure that these Jubilee clips are done up nice and tightly on your charge pipe at home if you ever remove it, because that is a classic source of boost leaks on your car. The charge pipe had already been loosened off on the inlet and the outlet for it, which is just a Jubilee clip here with a flathead screw. All that's left for me to do to remove this charge pipe is loosen these two Jubilees. Now I've got no idea how long these silicone pipes have been on this charge pipe, so they might be frozen on. Encourage them to come off. They seem to come off nice and easy. I wonder if this bigger pipe will come off as easy. I'm going to back that off a little bit more. Jubilee clips off now. There we go. That's that removed. So there we go, the first part has been removed from the engine, which is the charge pipe. So looking at a standard charge pipe, both ends are quite polished, so you need to make sure that you get any of the pipes right over these lips. There's a lip either end, and get the Jubilee clip clamped right around that to hold it nice and tight, because if you don't get it engaged properly, it will cause boost leaks. And what you might also notice is there is a dent on the back of this charge pipe right here. That's meant to be there, and it allows the charge pipe to sit over the engine and give enough clearance. Now what I've seen on some aftermarket charge pipes is they don't have this dent on the back, they're just a straight pipe. And what you find is when the pipe is on the engine, it doesn't allow the pipe to fit far enough across, and as such it can pop off and cause more boost leaks. So this dent is very important. So that's our first bit for the box.
With the charge pipe out of the way, we have a better top-down view of the engine. I went to unscrew the oil cap next, and the entire filler net came off with the cap together. I did not even realise the net came off.
It does engage, and if I hold on to the filler, I can unscrew it myself, and it looks seriously crusty in there. I think this engine has been really badly maintained, and I could be in for more shocks as we work through it. But at least we've got the charge pipe out of the way now, so we can start removing other components. So that's all for this week's paintwork cleanup video and engine bay investigations. I hope you've enjoyed today's content. If you have, then please do give this video a thumbs up, and also think about subscribing to my channel if you've not already done so, for a whole host of content on the Audi TT Mark 1. Please do keep coming back and checking out for more progress updates on this Project TT, as we take it from what it is today to what it may become. Obviously, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on what I should do with this car, whether I should break the car, turn it into a track car, or put it back on the road. As always, thanks for watching, see you soon. Take care.